If your setup feels fragile, you'll hesitate, and hesitation kills ideas. Now, I've tested a lot of routing options with my Digitakt and Digitone running into the iPad, and this is the one that keeps me focused on making music instead of troubleshooting. Now, I'm not going to be talking about every single cable or MIDI menu in this video, and that's not because it doesn't matter. It's because listing all of that up front usually makes things more complicated than they need to be. Instead, I want you to focus on the roles and the direction so that the setup stops feeling fragile. So here's the rule. You want to think of your setup by role, not by cable. Your electron boxes, they're the music makers. AUM just serves as the glue, and audio should flow one way. MIDI can be totally optional. The Spark2Track is my workflow system for getting raw instinct to finish tracks without killing momentum. But before any of that works, there's phase 0. Now phase 0 exists so Spark doesn't die before it starts. Think of phase 0 like the moment before the Big Bang. Nothing is happening yet, but the relationships have to be right for the spark to actually ignite. Alright, so as you can see here, we got the Digitakt and the Digitone. We got an audio interface, we got the USB-C hub, and an AUM, aka the iPad. Now, separate these by roles, right? These two, what do? They generate ideas and patterns. Your audio interface handles audio. It goes one way. Your USB-C hub, you want to think more of like plumbing. So your USB cables are going into the plumbing. Same with the audio interface. You know, these green cables are gonna indicate audio. In my case, I'm running the Digitone 2 into the Digitakt, and they're going straight out into the interface. Now you might be thinking, well, why don't you just use the USB cable as audio? Well, the limitation on the iPad is that it only lets you use one audio interface. So because that treats it as a class compliant interface, it'll have to choose either the audio interface or the Digitakt or Digitone. And to avoid that, that's why you want to use the audio interface. You want to treat the USB cables solely as MIDI if you care. That's totally optional. Like, only add that if control matters to you. So once you got all that situated, run that into AUM, and now you're set. Again, we're treating this USB hub as plumbing, not logic. An AUM, in this case, is not a DAW. You know, it only serves to route, process, and capture ideas. Nothing more, nothing less. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, I get it, but I want to keep this all in my head, well, that's exactly where the Phase 0 PDF helps. It shows the same logic mapped out clearly. That way you're not holding it all in your head or pausing the video trying to reverse engineer things. Once this clicks, the setup stops feeling fragile. You stop asking yourself, oh, what if I break something? and start asking, what if I try this? So this is the phase 0 AUM session. I got labeled inputs down here. They all sum up into one bus, which leads to one record path. And you got a few empty nodes here and there. But literally, that's it. It's not meant to be impressive. It's meant to be safe. Use this once before you customize anything, dude. So here's how to use this. Look at the diagram, load the AUM session, make sound immediately. Just hit play, jam a pattern, don't record anything, don't fix the levels. Remember, it's about momentum first, refinement later. Spark the track is built around pattern intent on the electron boxes. Early patterns capture instinct, middle patterns introduce movement, later patterns shape structure. This setup supports that process. It doesn't replace it. So if your setup feels fragile, you'll hesitate. And if you hesitate, that pattern never becomes a track, dude. Phase 0 keeps Spark alive long enough to turn into a track. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you this exact setup and making a pattern start to finish. When that's live, it'll be linked up here. So keep the setup boring so that the music stays alive.